Okay, what's going on? Vincent Rapsardi, Big Blue Unbiased.com. Day 2 of the NFL Draft tonight. And the New York Giants made another trade. They traded back yet again. But before we get into that, Manscaped.com is our sponsor. If you like us, if you like this channel, I would love if you can support our sponsor, Manscaped.com. BBU is the promo code. You get 20% off plus free shipping. They got face razors. They got ball wipes now. They got a ball razor. They have a nose trimmer. They got a lot of cool things. If you can check them out, Manscaped.com. Promo code BBU for 20% off plus free shipping. So the New York Giants have made another trade. They moved back yet again. They traded their pick, their first-round pick, yesterday, the 11th overall pick, moved back to 20. And then they got a 4th-round pick next year and a 5th-round pick this year, as well as a first-round pick next year. So they got a pretty nice return, especially for next year's draft. Well, they just made another really good trade, too. They moved back from 42 to 50, and they get a 3rd-round pick next year from Miami, and they're still able to take a very productive college player, very talented player in Azeez Ojulari. And what would a Gettleman draft be without a player from Georgia being selected? Baker, Thomas, Carter, and now Ojulari. Maybe I'm missing another player. That's how many players it's been since Gettleman has taken over. So Ojulari, they had another pass rusher. Their pass rushing scheme, they want to scheme together a pass rush. That's been their goal. That's what they stated last offseason, and they did a great job at it. 10th in pressure percentage. They were last in pass rush win rate, but it just goes to show you how well they did schematically coaching up and scheming together a pass rush. They didn't have the most talented players. They still got pressure on the quarterback, and that's also thanks to a secondary, I believe was 14th in expected points added, EPA. Pass defense EPA. So you had that. You had a good secondary, but you had players who were able to scheme together a pass rush and get pressure on the quarterback, and that's essentially without Ximines and Carter. They really didn't play much last year because of injury. So you get a player like Azeez Ojulari, a talented edge rusher, a guy who not only rushes the passer well, but there's also been scouting reports about him in terms of his ability to stop the run. He's getting better at that. That's what some scouts are seeing, that he's getting better at stopping the run as well. So he's not just a pure pass rusher. So they add him to their group of edge rushers with Ximines, Carter, Afadi Odenigbo. Their defensive line is fairly strong at the moment with Dexter Lawrence, Leonard Williams. They added Danny Shelton. They still have B.J. Hill. Their defense is coming along, and I think all of us kind of expected them to take an edge rusher somewhat high in this draft. I thought 2nd, I thought 3rd round. That's kind of where they took Carter and Ximines. Not surprised at all with this pick. You get a talented player. You add another player to your defense. Rotate players in and out. Gettleman was there when the Giants had a fairly stacked pass rushing unit from the days of Strahan, Tuck, Osi, Kiwanuka, all those guys, and then Pierre Paul. You want to look at some of the interior defensive linemen, Barry Cofield and Linval Joseph and Fred Robbins. I mean, the Giants did a really nice job of building depth on their defensive line, and specifically just rushing the passer, options at rushing the passer, rotated players in and out, and it worked. And I think that's exactly what they're trying to do. Their defense is set up a little bit differently than it was in those 2007 and 2011 seasons where they played more of a 4-3 style of football. Now they're playing more of a 3-4 style of football on defense, but Patrick Graham's scheme is very multiple. It's not just straight up base 3-4 defense. They like to mix things up and scheme together a pass rush whatever way possible. So they add Azeez Ojulari, another nice edge rushing talented player, someone who has had a knee concern, which is why he kind of slid a little bit here in the draft. Most people evaluated him as a top 20 or top 25 pick when healthy, but you get him here at 50. Obviously pretty solid value considering where his pre-injury or non-injury assessment would be if you're just judging him strictly based on the player and not the injury. We'll see if he can hold up. We'll have to wait and see. Hope that he does. Hope that he has a successful and healthy NFL career. But this is a nice pick. You had another player, if you're the Giants, you had another nice young player at your edge rushing spot, and you see what happens. And in return, you're able to trade back and gain another pick for next year. Now it's setting up where they've added a first-round pick for next year. They've added a third and fourth-round pick for next year. Let's say this Daniel Jones thing doesn't work out. They have now put themselves in a position where if they want to trade up, let's just say they want to trade up for a top pick and take a quarterback, they're in a great position to do that. I know that's probably not on your mind at the moment, and it really shouldn't be. You're hoping that Daniel Jones is able to take the next step and be the Giants franchise quarterback, and that's what Dave Gettleman's hoping too. But worst case scenario, I mean, I don't know if Gettleman will still be there next season. If Jones doesn't work out, I think that Gettleman's not going to work out. I think that they'd probably find a new GM. But for Joe Judge's sake, he would have the opportunity to step up and potentially trade up and take his quarterback. Look, we're pretty far away from that potential scenario, but it is a thought that they've accumulated all these picks for next season. If they needed to move up, they obviously would have the flexibility to do so. And remember, they've spent some money over the past few years, so now they're able to go into next year's draft, and if they're not able to spend more money for specific starters, or maybe they have to let certain players go, now you're sitting next year with 2 first-round picks. Those are 2 players that you're likely going to have for 5 years if you carry over their 5th-year option for a somewhat nice price, depending on where they get drafted in the first round, obviously, but a good price, 5 years, a player who you expect to step in right away and start. Those are 2 guys that you expect to start right away as first-round picks for the most part. So you put yourself in a really nice spot, not only for now, because they didn't move back that far. You move back from 11 to 20 in the first round. Now you move back from 42 to 50, and you gain legitimate draft capital for next season. You got to love what Gettleman has done. I don't care if you like him or not. You got to like or love what he has done in this draft so far.